Hi, this is Kristen Heemstra, your personal college and career coach, and I want to talk to you a little bit about how the different types of admissions work for colleges. So we're going to start by talking about a program called Early Decision. Now, Early Decision is used by some very competitive schools, and what it means is that when a student applies and they say, hey, I'd like to come to your school, if the school says yes, it's a binding agreement and the student must go. Now, if you're applying early decision anywhere, you're going to have the student, the parent, and the counselor all sign off on different paperwork, whether you use the Common App or the school's application, to indicate that everyone is aware that this is a binding arrangement. Early decision can be wonderful. I have Duke up here in particular because they're very transparent about it. So in Early Decision, they give some stats. They took about 10% of their incoming class, or about 10% of Duke's applicants choose to apply Early Decision, and they admit 23.5% that come in that way. Again, self-selected group, super, super competitive, but it's not as competitive as the 8.7% that they take regular decision. So you can see the big discrepancy that's there. Part of the reason is that Early Decision, if you don't get in, you're going to apply regular decision somewhere else. So let's say you apply to Duke and you're one of the 77, 78% who don't get in. You're then going to go look for another school and be coming in that way. And that's going to make that school's pool more competitive. So that's something to keep in mind. And that part of the benefit of Early Decision is the pool's not quite as big. So something to keep in mind. The downside of Early Decision, you can't take, like, let's say Duke doesn't offer you a ton of money, but if you were to go to like Emory, they would offer you money. You're not ever really going to know, because that's not going to be something you're going to be able to apply to and find out. So that's the downside of Early Decision, and it can be a very important downside. So something to keep in mind. So the next one we're going to talk about is Early Action. Now, Early Action is used by several schools. I'm going to pick on the Ivies because they tend to use it. Stanford uses it. There's single choice, restricted choice. They all have different terms for it, and they all have slightly different rules. Early Action single choice means this, that you can apply to one uber competitive college, and then you can apply to other colleges, but it can't be binding and it can't be anything early. So if you apply Early Action, restrictive Early Action on November 1st, you may not apply to an early program at any other private college or university, but you can apply to your public school, which is nice. And then they have some other rules on here. You want to apply Early Action if you have done your research and you know that the school that you're going to apply Early Action to is the school that you want to go to. Again, this helps keep the applicant pool fairly small. So you can't apply single choice Early Action to two schools. Schools actually do compare lists on this. You will find that out. But there's also another type of Early Action, which is very interesting, and that is at the state level. And I'm going to use University of North Carolina here because I really like what they did, except I really don't like the October 15th deadline because it's so soon. So Early Action for University of North Carolina means, hey, you apply and we'll tell you. They'll tell you typically by late January. There's nothing binding about it. It doesn't matter if you apply Early Action or regular decision. It's just, it's really up to you, and they keep it very simple that way. There are some things to keep in mind, though, and one of them is that a lot of the scholarships go to people who apply Early Action, and you definitely want to check out, if you're interested in this being considered for school scholarships, you definitely want to do that. That's super important to keep in mind, because who doesn't want to save money? I mean, let's be honest. Even if you have it, you still want to save it, right? Okay, so that's Early Action and Early Decision. So now let's talk about regular decision. So before I do that, though, I do want to bring up one other thing. There is another Early Decision deadline. It's called ED2. And ED2 was designed to scoop up all the students who didn't get into ED1. So let's say you applied to NYU and you didn't get in, and then you really want to go to school in New York. So you may say, hey, I'm going to look at Fordham or wherever you want to look. And there's an ED2 option, early decision 2 option, again, binding. You'll see a lot of students then go into that pool. So that's something to keep in mind as well. That's another strategy schools are using to try to get students to come to them. Why early decision? Because again, early decision is an automatic yield. It's part of what a school is ranked on, and it means that you are coming, and so is your purse. All right, and then we have regular decision. I am going to use for that the California system. I'm picking big name schools, by the way, Berkeley, Duke, Princeton. The only reason I'm picking them is because so many people are familiar with them. This is not an endorsement of these schools. I am all about college fit. I don't think a lot of these schools fit different people. You really need to do your research. Make sure you do your data research. Make sure you get on campus, all those things, because you want the best experience for you. So I do want to put that disclaimer on there. So the California system is an interesting one because they are massive. Oh my gosh, they're like the biggest college system going, right? And they have, their application is available in August, but it's actually, you need to submit it by November 30th. So you're not seeing early, you're not seeing any of that. They're saying, hey, application deadline, November 30th, that's your only deadline. So that's something to keep in mind as you go through this process. Other schools will have regular decision deadlines. So if we go back to Duke, you would see that they're going to have a later deadline. It's usually in January when you'll see that deadline pop up. Now I want to talk about rolling admission. And I have 2 schools pulled up for rolling. The first one I'm going to look at is University of North Carolina, Asheville. Now, this isn't a school a lot of people have heard about. It is a very good liberal arts school in North Carolina. It's a smaller state school. Rolling admission is typically used by colleges and universities who are trying to keep their freshman class growing. So you can apply at your convenience is what you're going to see. You also have a different type of it at Michigan State. So Michigan State has the early action, non-binding early action. Then they have their regular admission deadline. And then they're rolling after that. So they're trying to get all the students in the door, but again, trying to maximize the opportunities they'll have with their incoming freshman class. So that is rolling admission. And then the last one I want to talk about is open admission or open enrollment. And you typically find open enrollment with your community college system. So I have here Northern Virginia Community College. This is an amazing institution, tons of campuses around the DC area. These community colleges are designed to take the whole community into account when they do their programming. So you're going to have college graduates, you're going to have high school graduates, you're going to have people going back for a lot of different reasons, and they're a wonderful catch-all for that. They are open enrollment, meaning that if you apply, they'll let you in, assuming you have, usually it's a high school diploma, sometimes it's age-related, you'll be able to tell based on the school. You want to apply ahead of time. You also want to apply as early as you know you're going to go to one of these and as soon as they'll let you, because it could help, may not, but it could help get you up on the roster in terms of class registration, because these schools have so many different people coming in. Sometimes it's hard to get the classes you need until you get a little bit of seniority. And so applying early may very well be in your best interest. So just a super quick recap, early decision, it is binding. It can be an amazing strategy. A lot of schools take students in their early decision round, American, Duke, a lot of universities do. It's a great strategy. If you are wholly committed to that university, you love them beyond belief, and you are so ready to go, ED is the way for you. Single choice early action is very limiting. It's used a lot by the Ivies, and Stanford uses it. And it means that you can apply to one of them, and then you need to apply regular decision to your other schools with the exception of your state school or a military academy. Early action non-binding just means you can apply early, and a school will let you know typically by the end of January whether you're admitted or not. Then you have regular decision, that after the early folks come in, then the regular dates start popping up. It can be January, February, March. Happens to be in November for the California system because they're so massive, but they only have one deadline, so they've got that going for them. Then you have rolling admission, meaning you can apply at your convenience, or it can be implemented after a different type of admission strategy has been implemented, like we saw at Michigan State. And then finally, you have open enrollment. And that means anybody who applies can get in. Great way to start your college career. There's many, many wonderful community colleges out there, which can give you a leg up. So there you go. There's your information, and we'll move on to the next video.